Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. So, this is the post-game review of the what's the game we played? No, not Nottingham Forest. That's how bad my memory is. You guys know that. But yeah, we've got Arun back with us. Hi, Arun.
Hello.
So before we start, as usual, please do like, subscribe, and comment in. And also, like, if you want to be part of this podcast, reach out to us. And we would like to bring you in and we have your views on here. It's a victory, but we were expecting much more. I don't know if you were expecting much more. Even during the preview predicted 5-0 win to Arsenal. But we ended up with a 2-1 measly win. What are your first thoughts on the game?
First thoughts, I'm happy. I'm happy with the win. It's good to start the season, on a positive note. The domination that we exhibited during the game was good.
Is it really? Is it really?
Yeah, I mean, like domination in the sense the amount of possession and control that we have. Like I was actually like talking, guesting on another podcast representing Arsenal, and I had actually mentioned this there. Until it takes time for the midfield and the new players to get settled in, and adapt to the style of game that we play, I would really be happy just taking 1-0 wins. Like for me, a win is a win. Yeah, you score 5, you score 1, it helps with the goal difference. But right now, when you have so many new faces trying to get into the system and trying to get into the system from teams where they either had no system or were actually in the bottom half, like in the Rights case, for example, when you're trying to integrate so many new players in while having lost someone like Ajaka, I would first look at securing a win while getting enough time for these players to settle in. And that's how I thought. So for me, I would be happy taking 1-0 wins until the end of September.
But the thing is, Arun, I get your point, and from logical standpoint, all that makes sense. But the problem is that it's a home game, start of the season after which we went on like 200 plus days, top of the league to quote unquote bottle the league. But we are starting the league we are starting this season with a community shield victory over City, and this is the best possible game that Arsenal could play. Home to Nottingham Forest on a Saturday afternoon, is the best possible game Arsenal fans and Arsenal could have hoped for.
So you sort of expected something like more like an action movie or something, like us being like easy. That's the thing. Like I wasn't expecting that. Like I wasn't expecting like a Mission Impossible. I was happy with like something
No,
like.
but the thing is, yeah, okay. The win is a win. We got 3 points. We got the position and everything. But at any point in the game, apart from that, second half of the second section of the first half, if I have to put it that way, where we exhibited total control, attacking intent, and everything. Apart from that, we felt a little bit dull. That's my problem. It's not about like action movie or scoring 5 goals, but we felt a little bit dull.
Yeah, I mean, like it's got, for me, it was like a lot to do with the kind of opposition that we faced as well. Like this was a team that
Is that exactly my point? Like the kind of opposition we played
No,
should
it
have made
can
it
go.
easier.
It can go both ways, because the kind of opposition that we've faced is someone who is battling to stay in the league. They don't want to get a win against us. They don't want to like score a goal against us. They would have been happy with a 0-0 draw, because a 1 point against a big six side is a big thing for a team that is fighting to stay in the league. So if you see that perspective, with new faces in the team, though we were playing like a very high line, playing from the halfway line most of the time, the opposition was just inside their box. They never came out until it came to a situation where they saw that they needed to score a goal, there was a possibility, and they tried coming back. And so for me, it was like not really something that I expected us to be scoring like a 4-0, 4 goals and win like a 4-0 or anything at all. I was thinking more like a 2-0 or a 2-1. Like I said, I would have been happy with the 1-0. That's where I am right now, because a win is the most important thing. Then you're integrating new players in as much as they might have played in the same league. When they come from systems that they've played for, it's going to be like a huge task for them to adapt. And like we are going to be taking that time in which plus it also showed like a facet of the game from our perspective that we've been crying out for, like in terms of being more proactive in terms of the kind of players that you put in for your first 11, and like trying to sort of be on a horses for courses
Mhm.
system, and that showed during the game. So for me, putting all those things in, like City for example, when they tried to integrate Haaland in last season, sorry, they were winning, but they weren't beating like people up the way they did in the second half of the season. Like it was, they were like, when people said, "Oh, City have lost their edge," I didn't believe it, because it's fucking City that we're talking about here. They don't lose their edge with a manager like Pep Guardiola. So like they took their time integrating Haaland in. There would be questions, but like as long as we have 3 points on the board, as long as we are on the in the table within like touching distance of where we want to be, I I really wouldn't mind this. Like I'm
This is why I love having Arun here, because he will. I don't have to pivot the conversation to bring it to a point where I want to talk about. He will invariably bring it there. So, but yeah, you touched upon the starting lineup, starting 11. That was where my problem was, right? Like putting Partey there. I don't know. There are news about like Gabriel was not fully fit. That's why we didn't start him. And even if that's the case, not starting a right back, we did have a genuine right back, and not starting a genuine right back and instead like playing Thomas Partey there. And I don't know, it felt like we were trying to do the whole thing of like, oh, we'll give a start to all our three signings. Is that the intention behind it, or is it like genuine footballing intention that, yeah, this game required something like this?
it must be like a combination of both, to be honest. Like you want your new players, new signings to be integrated as soon as possible, so it doesn't affect your whole gameplay throughout the season. But if you're not able to do it in a game against a 20th place team, or like like I said earlier, a team that just remains in their own like D half, where else are you going to be putting these guys in? Are you going to be like starting a Havertz in a game against United when the stakes are high, or do you want to have a system that preps Havertz to be ready for a system like for a game like United? I would like sort of look at it this way. Like I want, if it takes time for Havertz to like settle in, for a Rice to settle in, for a Timbers to settle in, like you said, we couldn't have asked for a better opposition to be implementing this.
Mhm.
So even if we did lose a little bit of control by not having Partey play as a conventional midfielder and have him start at right back, it did not affect, or it was not going to affect the outcome of the game in any big way. That's what I felt. So like for me, the rationale was okay. Let's we can afford to do it in this game, so let's do it.
Mhm.
Like there are so many games when we wouldn't be able to afford doing this like at any level, like because of the kind of opposition, because of the strengths of the opposition and the quality of the players that they have. If you look at a Nottingham Forest, there is not really any big threats apart from like Johnson or White. So given that, and given the fact that Awani wasn't playing, I really, yeah, I was a little confused when I saw the starting lineup. But then, like as the match progressed, the idea was visible. So we like, that's why I said by dominance, what I meant was like we had the ball. Yes,
But
we
that's the thing, right? Like when that period that I'm telling you, after the first 15, 20 minutes of the first half till the end of the first half, that's when the period of like where we played our best football for me. And during that time, if you look at it, it was just like, Partey abandoning his position as right back and becoming a midfielder, and White becoming the right back that we are
yeah.
used to. That's why our first goal, oh no, not our first goal, second goal came from that combination, right? And even before that, Saliba played like a brilliant through ball that
Yeah, yeah.
White would run into and stuff like that. So the brilliance came from the system that we are used to at the end of the day.
Right.
So why not utilize that system? It's like why not utilize that system and then bring Harvards in? We do have five substitutes.
Right. But like a party at a right back looks a little more logical than a party at center back. I think that's the only reason that I can think about, because Gabriel
No,
was
but we
starting.
do we do have like other center backs to play. We
No, that's
literally have
true. That's true. Like, but
And White could
like,
still play center back, and then like we could have Tomiyasu there as a right back, or we could
no,
have
you're
like,
sure. I agree with that. But then, like again,
the whole
Timber.
point of Kivier is that he's a left-footed center back. That's why
True,
we
true,
bought
true,
him.
true. Like if we didn't play Gabriel, I don't see why we would be playing Kivior. I know that there were talks about Gabriel having gotten a knock and being a little injured before the game started, but then like he did make like an appearance towards the end because when I thought he would come in sooner because I was like, okay, Avani is coming in. And like that's probably the reason why he didn't start. There was no Avani. Their center forward was Brennan Johnson, which sort of gave us the liberty to actually not bench not start or bench Gabriel. So I agree with you. We had players that we could have used, but to get the best out of Timber and to get the best out of Havertz, or like give him that acclimatization time, I thought we went for this, and it didn't fail.
Okay,
So
so this is
so
where
I
I have
would
to
say
cut
maybe
you.
like eventually Timber would play as a right back, like when he's back, he would play as a right back instead of Party, and maybe that would be a difference. So for me, I just saw it as like I told you earlier, like a different facet that we've been like crying out for. The manager is able to make these changes depending on the kind of opposition in the game that we're playing. So that was like positive for me, I found.
Hmm. I
But I
mean,
understand what you mean. Like we shouldn't have to make so many changes to accommodate a new player, but
yes,
we paid 65 million for him, right? So we need to
that's up
sort of.
to him. That's up
That's
to
up to
him.
him. But like it's the manager who wanted him in when the entire world was totally against it. So if the manager, it's more pressure on the manager to make him work rather than the player to make himself work.
It,
I
this
find
is
that's the situation here.
this is why I'm worried about it, because Chelsea manager wants the player to work. Manager wanted him, and the whole world was against. Everything screams villain,
Yeah, but
villain to
again,
me.
it's on the manager. I wouldn't blame the player at this point at all. Like the player, uh, Chelsea wanted to get rid of him. We wanted Mount, and we saw when Mount wasn't available, we went for Havertz when there were so many other players there. So if the manager really got him, he should be having a plan. And if this is the plan to integrate him, yeah, then do it. Like if because whether Havertz fails or succeeds, the the all of the credits is going to go to Arteta more than to Havertz. If Havertz succeeds, people are going to be calling it a masterstroke by Arteta and call him as the person who actually saved his career.
Mhm.
If Havertz fails, then it's again going to be falling on Arteta because of a 65 million transfer. Havertz is not, because his reputation is already like in the mud. He's not going, nothing's going to change. People are already calling him the worst transfer of the season. So nothing's going to change. So it's the onus is on the manager to make this work somehow.
Mhm.
So if he has a system, if he has a plan, then he has to go above and beyond to make this work. And that's where I feel that we are going to be seeing a lot of things like this over the
Mhm.
next few games to
Okay.
accommodate Havertz.
Okay, so I mean, we have talked a lot, and for everyone who's listening, it might sound like I'm complaining a lot, which I am. I'm not denying that fact, but I also want to balance it out with like the goals and other stuff. The goals that we scored, Arun, right? Like the first one, especially, I mean, both of them are brilliant, brilliant goals. I saw a meme today that was laughing at Manchester United, going like, you spent 100+ million on Sancho and Anthony when Arsenal spent 6 million on Bukayo Saka and Martinelli. And what a
And Eddie
revelation!
Nketiah. Don't leave him.
What a revelation these two are, though. Like Martinelli was frustrated that there was nothing coming his way because everything was happening on the right, nothing was going through the left. Understandably, because the left was where, like, our most dysfunctional side of things right now is. And then suddenly he gets the ball, runs, and does that Rabona backheel assist.
Yeah. It's like one of those things that
No,
works
it's not
like,
Rabona, it's like 360 backheel
no, it
assist.
was like just a 360 back heel. So
Yeah.
it's like one of those things that works beautifully in your head, but then to execute it on the pitch, it's like something really difficult. And like he managed to do it, whether it was like luck or precision or skill or whatever it might be. The fact that he actually did that was amazing. Like, to be able to turn at that point. So I saw that too. Like some United fans had posted like this Martinelli is what we thought United Anthony was going to be, like, in terms of what he does. But then we ended up with Anthony. Like,
Burn,
there's
burn in
always
hell. Burn in hell, United fans. I don't
There's
care.
always a section of fans that are happy with what's happening, and another section of fans that always keep questioning, right? So like
Uh-huh.
those people were like actually pretty miffed at what Martinelli was doing. Yeah. So but the goals, yeah, like the first one, Eddie was like really good for like 60 minutes, 45 to 60 minutes of the game. First half, he was really good. And then he started slowing down a little when he was replaced. But this is the kind of game that, like, you need to have Eddie in there, give him the confidence. Because if you look at the stats, out of 16 starts, he has 14 goals.
Yep.
Whether two came in a game or three came in a game, the dude has got goals. Like, what more does he have to do? Like, he was not starting in the Community Shield. And like Arteta mentioned, like, he trained and made sure that I cannot drop him. That's the kind of attitude that you need from your French players in the team.
Mm-hmm.
Those who do not like sort of create commotion, but like show what they are capable of doing in the pitch. And the way in which he took the goal, he knew what he was doing. Like that's what strikers do. That's instinctive for strikers to be like able to see where they can score the goal and take that shot. Now, well, there were some fans who were complaining that there was a situation where I think Eddie should have passed or something to Martinelli, who was on the right, and people were complaining like this. He has to be superhuman to be able to do that. Like, it's
Yeah,
seeing
no,
that the picture is different and seeing that on the pitch is different.
no, you cannot expect like every touch to be the perfect touch, every
Yeah.
pass to be the perfect pass, every decision to be the perfect decision. And it is such a conundrum for me because, like, literally, he is both. I always lag him a little bit, but I also feel that he is underrated. He's very
He's very
underrated in an English standpoint or from a striker
yeah.
standpoint. If he was playing somewhere in like Syria or somewhere in French league, we would have gone like Gaga over him
Yeah,
for
that's the
being
thing.
this
Like,
turn.
it's for a second striker. I don't understand what more people expect. Like, do you want Jesus to be a second striker and have a Victor Osimhen in your team? Like, we are not that kind of a club. Like that's the thing. Like, we
No,
are.
even if that's the case, like even Victor Osimhen, like what has he done? Like I don't know. I just don't understand people rating other league strikers or players much more for the same stats. Like for example, last season Xhaka did 7 goals, 7 assists,
Yeah,
but somehow we think that someone like Casado or someone from other league is always better.
yeah,
Why?
yeah. Our fans are always, like it could be because we've been made to want more. The standards have increased, but then like our fans love hating on people.
Yeah.
We're haters. And like, there's always a situation where the minute something goes wrong, we start throwing people under the bus.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like, I don't know if I can blame the fans because of like the sort of banter club that we became during Wenger's last few years, and then like under Emery, and then all that happened. The problem was we still felt we were a big club and we deserved respect when we were not like showing in performances to actually deserve respect, and we were
Harsh
not able
truth.
to accept it.
Harsh truth right
Harsh truth.
here.
That's the thing. We wanted to be considered as title contenders, but like we never were in the race. We were always in the race for the fourth spot. So we as a fan base were never ready to accept that. And like that's what's happening with United too. Like their fans have at least like there's this more recent. The last time they won the league was I think 2012 or 13. So they still
Van
are in the phase
Persie.
that yeah, they still are in the phase where we were like about 7-8 years ago, still thinking that like we're big, we need to be winning when the quality is not really there. You might have a wonderful manager, but the quality and the results on the pitch show otherwise. So it takes time. So we are always ready to jump on people when they don't perform. But that's where we are right now. So like it takes a little bit of time, but I don't see why not. We'll be fine.
Mm. So Saka's goal, and Saka is the
I
man
mean,
of the match.
I'm running out of words to describe what this does every game. Honestly, like the way in which he has improved physically, and like the way in which he's like he knows he's going to be targeted in 2v1s, and like he's like trying a lot to overcome that. Not a lot. Again, his attitude is fantastic. He wants to be the one doing things for the team, but not in like any sort of a negative way. Like
Ronaldo.
like sorry.
Ronaldo, Mbappe.
I'm not calling people out.
I
I'm
will call I will call people out. That's who I am. I am petty.
so
Like,
so given
arrogant
all
Ronaldo or like arrogant Mbappe way.
so yeah, that's the thing. So like the way in which he played the entire game, when White was not overlapping and when White was overlapping, like it didn't seem to make too much of difference to his game. And that's a big improvement because like we were constantly complaining about the right side and like the need for White to overlap for Saka to become, like better at his game. So he has been continuously improving. I think he's probably like one of the top three right wingers in the world right now, I would say.
I mean, I was getting there. Like, not just right wingers, of all the players right now in the world, do you think Saka would be in the top five?
Top 10, yeah. Top
Okay.
10. Because like the thing is that this is just the first game of the season. I'm yet to see him perform consistently against big teams outside of England. We've never seen him play against the Barcelona apart from that one friendly that we did. Never seen him play against Real Madrid. Never seen him play against the likes of like Milan or Juventus or a PSG, Bayern Munich. Like though these teams might not be at their best now, these are the kind of teams that you want to perform and show how really good you are. So
Mhm.
I do not know if he would be top five, but I would say top 10 for sure. Yeah. Because
Mm.
he's like showing it against probably like five or six of the best teams in the world right now, like
Yep.
a City or a Chelsea or Liverpool. Like Chelsea might have gone down, but like they still have the squad and the ability to cause a surprise. So,
Mhm.
yeah, when you're able to do it in this league, you definitely would be like one of the best. Just the
Mm.
Champions League part is missing. If he's able to perform in the Champions League consistently, then I don't see why not.
Okay, so I think that's all we had for this game. I don't think we need to
Who
heat
was your
in.
player of the game? What
Oh,
your
Saka.
like? What are your thoughts on the game? Like, I
Oh,
mean, like,
definitely Saka. Saka is the player
no,
of the
your
game. There's no
thoughts on the
question.
game. Let's say, like, because you were talking about accommodating players to play Havertz. Like, why? How else do you feel that we can like actually bring Havertz into the fold and make him succeed?
We don't have to make him succeed. That's the whole point. I feel is like we don't have to make any player succeed or not succeed. Like we don't have to do anything
What's the
to
point
buff
of
up the
getting
like.
him in then?
So the whole point is him trying to get this team forward. Like there's a I think there's an interview by Henri a long time back, right? Like about Pep Guardiola and Barcelona. He talks about it, and he talks about Wenger too. He says those are two different train of thought. Wenger, when Henri was playing the striker, he was saying that he told Henri that, do you think Piraeus and Bloomberg and Burkham passes the same way? Then
Mm.
why are you playing the same way to all three of them? And that made
Mm-hmm.
Andre think, okay, I should not be a striker who should accentuate other players' shortcomings. Instead, I should play to make them better.
But then we are comparing an Andre with an Havertz here. The
No,
standards are
no, no, I'm not comparing. I'm just saying, like, so the whole point is that there is two sides of it, which is the player has to think, how do I enhance this team? How do I enhance other players around it? How do I become part of a team that's going to enhance its own capabilities? Right? That's the whole point. And yeah, it's too early for him to think and like act on it right now. But from a manager's standpoint, we have five subs. If it's not working, change. If you're not, I mean, yes, starting him was not the ideal thing for me, but if it's not working, change it. We have five subs. You saw what happened when Trossard came in. The game changed. How he plays changes the game. And it's not like you are making your one of your best players sit on bench for someone who you are trying to make a point. It's not footballing reasons that you have made someone sit on the bench. It's your own personal reasons.
that's where I feel that like the presence of someone like Trossard and the fact that we have a much more quality bench right now gives us the freedom to be able to do the things that we did in this game in
It
terms of trying to
it
integrate
should be the
habits.
other way around. It should be the other way around.
But we
Make
knew what
Trossard.
we were getting.
No,
That's the thing. We knew we were not getting like a finished product. We were not.
no, I'm not expecting. But what I'm saying is like start Trossard, put the game beyond doubt, then bring in Havertz. That would have made more sense.
Then at that point, he's not really going to be getting involved in anything serious because, like we saw yesterday too, after two goals, we really stopped like trying to go for a goal, or like the only person trying
That's
to score
that,
was Rice.
that's the whole point. That's where you come in and you have no pressure. You score, you play your game, you discover what you are with this team. That's when you have no pressure, right?
Interesting. I would like to see what our list. I would love to hear what our listeners have to say about
Oh,
this.
definitely, yes. Please do comment in because this is a huge point of
It's
contention that we
going to
have been.
continue for the season until like we start actually have it start see have it starting to score goals. This is going to continue. This
Yes.
debate is going to be always there. Maybe like, especially it's going to be like on the forefront if it causes us to like, drop points in any games that we shouldn't be dropping points.
But anyways, out of this game, we have to talk about the rest of the Premier League. City started their campaign with a 3-goal victory. Is it a 3-1?
Yeah, I was in 3-0, I think. Yeah,
3-0, 3-1. Yeah, I was
let's
not
see.
sure. Yeah, 3-0 with Burnley.
3-0. Yeah, yeah.
Burnley had a red
Haaland
card.
scored a double, and yeah.
Yeah. And then another
That
news.
wasn't really surprising for all the talk about Burnley being a positive team. City just like didn't let them do anything at all, and I wasn't surprised at all with that result.
I think, but it's what's his name? Kevin De Bruyne turned out injured during the game, so that is going to be a big blow for City.
Yeah,
because they are already short on midfield options, and there are
but
talks
just watch, they'll get Lucas Paqueta for 100 million, and like Pep will make him play well the way that he never thought we never thought we would see him play.
Yeah, but it takes time. Pep's system usually takes time for a player to be integrated. Even though as I was talking about, we feel that they are short of midfield options. I'm thinking, no, not really.
They're not. That's why I said, like, even if
they have
Paqueta comes
Foden, they have Foden, they have Jack Grealish, they have Bernardo Silva, they have what's his name? Kovacic. Then that other guy, right? What's his name? Phillips.
Calvin Phillips.
Calvin
even
Phillips.
Pep must have forgotten about him. Don't worry, it's okay.
Yeah.
But the thing that's the freedom that it gives a manager. Like, even if your best player is injured and you're trying to get someone new to integrate them into the team, the presence of names like this around him helps the manager like be able to ease the player in without having too much of pressure. And that's what I believe Arteta is doing in this case too. Sorry to bring Arteta back again.
But yeah, so the other team that was, there are two big games that happened though. One is the Brighton versus Luton. I mean, it's not a big game, but I watched that game.
Oh yeah, because like a lot was at stake because they lost Caicedo, McAllister, and like
but the team played really good. Like 4
really
goals, 4-1 was a really, really good result, and it was like fun to watch. It was really fun to watch. But the biggest game, not the biggest game, biggest result at least, was Newcastle won against Aston Villa, 5-1. I mean, all of us, when we are predicting, we all went for Newcastle not to be in the top 4. At least most of us went for Newcastle not to be in top 4. But seems like they are going to push hard.
They will push hard, but like I think they will sort of like have some trouble towards the second. They've got wonderful players, but the experience of a manager like Ten Hag or a Klopp, those are my two people who would be pipping Newcastle to the third and fourth spot. The experience that they have managing Europe and England together, in terms of the games and how to have your players play and like the number of minutes, that's where Eddie Howe will like come short. But I don't think their fans would complain if they finish fifth, because there's a possibility of the fifth place team going into the Champions League as well. So given that, I don't like, but I see them performing well. And I mentioned this, I don't know if Villa would actually do well this season. It's Emery's second season. Emery's system is always wonderful for cup competitions.
Yep.
It's not as effective for the league. You cannot play the way they did, game in, game out, week in, week out against the away teams, especially against big away teams. You cannot do that. Like the first goal from Diaby was like sort of, oh yes, Emery is going to be good. And then like they smashed them out of the park. Like,
the whole petty side of me came out so much during that game. Emery getting thwacked, and then there were talks about like Martinez going to Real Madrid or something like that, and then we see 5 go past him. Like it felt so good. It felt so good. And the other side of it, I woke up and I also saw the Spurs Brentford. Yeah, Spurs were awful to say the least.
But it's at first I'll cut them some slack throughout the season, because I don't think they have big expectations. I don't think like they are themselves thinking about like finishing the top 6 or 7.
It's not about finishing and points and anything. There was no connection. Like literally, the players were.
You lose your best player. That's what happens. You don't replace him properly. Like you do. In what world is Richarlison a replacement for Harry Kane up front? No, tell me, like, how many goals did he score?
If their idea is to retain the Spurs thing of like not winning anything, that is a replacement right there.
Because you have a striker who's hell-bent on not scoring a goal.
Yes. And so
Yeah,
you will
when
never
that
win it.
happens, I mean, like even in the game, I think there was a chance that he got past 80 minutes. Like if he had looked up just 1 second, he could have passed it on to the right when there was someone open, or just like moved a bit and taken a shot. And what he did, he just had his head down and he just took a shot.
Perisic was so pissed off at that
Yeah,
move. I
yeah,
was
that's what
looking
I'm
at it.
saying. Like when you have this guy replacing probably one of the greatest strikers England has ever seen, like the drop in quality is so bad. It's worse than Saliba holding, I would say. So when this happens, like you really cannot expect too much. Like they have Madison, yes, but Kulusevski is not a goal scorer. He's not a prolific goal scorer. So you have Madison and he has to do everything for the team. He's
Son and
not in the
Madison.
same form. Son is not in the same form. They made Romero a vice captain, for fuck's sake. Like that guy is one of the first candidates to be kicked out of the match for red cards.
Yep.
So I really don't understand the process, but like it's the manager's first season, new players, new system. The players have to buy into the system, start respecting the manager. Like winning a treble in the Scottish League is not the same as like being respected in the Premier League. There's a whole different like thing to it altogether. So I Postecoglou has a lot of work to do. So, but I think like starting the game away at Brentford with a draw is not too shabby a result for them. That's what I would put it, because like we went to Brentford and we like lost the first game that we played there.
Yeah, but that's a completely different thing, right? Like that's how we went in as a team and everything. Like we
Right,
lost
like our aim was different back then. We wanted to get into top four, and like right now, Postecoglou wants to just get into some European spot. That would be a win for them.
And as we are speaking, there's the Chelsea Liverpool, which is the biggest game for this weekend, and it's still 1-1. I mean, both the sides look like attacking as well as like being more varied.
Neither side has a defensive midfielder, so it seems like both the sides are trying to attack when there's actually just like the holes through which the balls are passing through. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just watching the game right now. So yeah, let's see. I mean, like I was hoping for a Liverpool win. Let's see what happens.
So this week, at least till now, unless like somehow United does like score like a 6 goal or something, seems like Newcastle will finish in the top.
Yeah.
With Brighton in second place.
Yes. We're looking at the new top four, I guess.
Yeah, but Brighton did look great, so we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like that. I mentioned it last season as well. Like De Zerbi he is sort of like one of those crazy managers who has so many ideas in his head, and like it's not just ideas, he manages to execute them on the pitch. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like I was praying that Chelsea don't go for him, and like he's the kind of manager like that. I wouldn't like be I wouldn't be surprised if once Pep or Klopp leaves, one of these two teams go for him, or like if a Real Madrid goes for him if they want to get rid of an Ancelotti. He's that kind. We were all like overhyping Potter when actually this guy is the real deal. The way in which he's playing like the vertical football, transitional football is unbelievably good. So especially for a team at the level that they are, it's you don't expect this.
So the game of the week is for me the Brighton game. But for you, which is the game of the week till now?
Newcastle. Like because it was like there was a lot more. Like Brighton were playing against Luton, a newly promoted team at home, so there was not a big thing. But like Villa are supposed to be the team with a lot of promise. People are putting them in top four conversations, and like I knew, like you have new players, but like again, Emery's system is not sustainable to go over a 38 game season. So for me, this was like, okay, I felt a little vindicated. So I was like, fine, yeah, what I said was, okay, maybe I know a little bit of ball. So that's good.
That's the whole reason why we are doing it, because we know a little bit of ball. There you go, guys. Varun, thank you so much for this. It's been amazing. It's a great discussion, and hopefully we will meet again for another episode.
People, please do subscribe to our channel. Click the bell icon so you get notifications whenever we put new episodes up. So yeah, we are trying something new for this season with the podcast. We'll try to be as regular as possible. So
see, now you are hearing it from another person, just not me. So
well, that's a promise, right? That's the basic thing that we can do. Minimum expectations would be an MVP would be minimum viable product would be like a regular podcast. So that's what we are trying to do this season. So we'll try to keep that promise. So whether Vijay is there or not, whether I am there or not, you will still get an episode every week.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And yeah, for anyone who still wants to be part of this podcast, reach out to us. You could comment in here, or you could reach out to us. You could DM us. You could send out a pigeon if you want, and if it reaches, you would be part of our podcast. So, thank you, Arun. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.